Hello, everybody. This is Sheila Kamara of Ecstatic Birth, and I'm so excited for today's conversation to transform birth. I'm here with Clara Costa from Brazil. Hi, Clara.
Hello, Sheila. So happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you, and especially because this conversation is really about how ecstatic birth, feeling pleasure in birth, having orgasms in birth, that's really available to everybody. It's not something that like you just get lucky. It's not something like that. This is something that you can 100% prepare for, train for. I'll share a little bit of your story and then we'll dive into it. Clara, I met Clara. She had 2 orgasmic births on her own. She lives in Brazil where the norm is C-section. I think there's like an 80% plus rate of C-section in Brazil. She'd had these 2 birth experiences and she's like, I am so passionate. I want women to know this is possible. I want to bring this to other women. And so she enrolled in my Ecstatic Birth Practitioner Training, where we journeyed together for about 18 months, still journeying together. But in the Ecstatic Birth Practitioner Training, she really got like the tools, the practices, everything to bring to her clients. And a few weeks ago, we were messaging on Instagram and Clara was like, Sheila, I'm so grateful. I'm having such incredible success with ecstatic and orgasmic sensations in birth with my clients. And I was like, okay, you have to come and share. You have to come and share and break it down. And in the conversations that you and I have been having, Clara, like what's been really exciting to hear is not only are you able to like share this with your clients, but in your own mind, you were able to understand how your own births were so orgasmic, that this was not an accident. This was not like you just got lucky, but actually you've been able to understand how you've been preparing really all your life in some ways, and concretely to identify and pinpoint the tools and practices that are most important to give to your clients so that they can have similar experiences. So I would love to just start right there. Clara, welcome. Tell us a little bit about like, how do you do this? Like, how does someone, whether they're an expectant mom or a birth practitioner, how do you make this something that's teachable and learnable?
Oh, that's so amazing to start by there. I really got all the tools throughout the training. When I had my birth, I was really passionate, but I absolutely could not offer that to someone else. I could only say that, well, I had that and it's amazing and it's really transformative and you should have one, but I really couldn't guide anyone in that way. And I still didn't know that it was possible to prepare. And when I discovered that there was something like a practitioner training around this, I was completely in. And throughout the training, I was every class and every conversation and every content that I was there studying brought me this clear understanding that I was not lucky. That was absolutely no luck, because what we were doing throughout the training was exactly what I was practicing the last 5 years. The last 10 years, I was learning these tools through other pathways, and I had all these prerequisites. I don't know, does that word exist? Prerequisites? Yeah. I had them without knowing. So now I see that it's not only being orgasmic, like having because this is one of the things that I had. I was someone who was already orgasmic. I easily reach an orgasm when I want, and it's something that I can reach. But I did not know that I could use this at birth intentionally. But anyway, this is not the only point. It's not only being orgasmic, because maybe I am someone who is highly orgasmic, but I am afraid of birth. Or maybe I am someone who is highly orgasmic, but during birth, I have some interruptions and I cannot go back to where I was. So I noticed that I had this combination of focus of coming back, my focus to my experience, the way I saw birth as something really sacred that I want to preserve. So I did not let anyone who would disturb me get into my space. So I was really, really decided not to let anyone disturb, because I knew it would be something great. I didn't know it would be pleasurable, but I knew it would be great. And also, I did not fear birth. So throughout the training, I saw that we work around all these areas. We work with the fears. We work with the orgasmic sensations, with attuning to the body, and we learn about the states of consciousness. So now for me, it's really simple to get to someone and work with her. It's really simple to say that, well, you can do this in pregnancy. You can prepare in pregnancy to have this, to reach this orgasmic sensation. The body practices are really fast, and we start feeling this really fast. And you can clean your fears, and you can choose your team, and I can help you through all this. And it has really been amazing to see that women learn and practice, and they bring this to birth, and they say it was really amazing, an amazing experience, and it was orgasmic, and they really enjoyed it, even if it was a fourth birth, and this was the first one that was orgasmic. So I'm so happy to share this with the women here in Brazil. I'm really, really, really enthusiastic about it.
It's so thrilling for me to hear you say that, because, you think like, sometimes you think, oh, the culture is so heavy. The culture is so different. I know, for those of you that are birth practitioners, like that's a really big thing that we all grapple with. We have this idea that birth is sacred. It can be beautiful. It can be pleasurable. And yet, like, the reality of what we see day in and day out is so different. And so sometimes it can feel like, I hate to say it, but hopeless, because that feels so heavy. And so this is like just such a beautiful, like, you're bringing forward such a beautiful spark of hope and light in a culture where 80% of women get C-sections. You're able to support, pleasurable birth. It's really, really exciting. And I want to highlight some of the things that you said, because I think they're so important. So there's that sacredness, the fact that your body's really honored and undisturbed, the fact that there's no fear, and the fact that you're orgasmic, right? Like, so these are all the different factors that really contribute, and around that, like building the support structure to support you and having that. So if you're an expectant mom, I really want you to consider all of these factors. Like, can you really drop into the sacred? Can you really hold that? Can you ensure that the people around you can really honor your body and your processes, keep you safe, but also really not disturb you in any way? And to really look your fears in the eye is really, really important. And then lastly, this piece about being orgasmic, like, what is your relationship to your sexuality? These are really, really big, big topics. And so, Clara, the other thing that I want you to talk about is, like, there's such big topics, like, and we've been conditioned our whole life. Like, how is it possible to unravel this and, like, really prepare, for pleasure in birth, if you have grown up with, like, maybe you're not so orgasmic, or maybe you're super scared, or maybe you have the conditioning? Like, how much time does it really take to, like, unravel this and prepare? Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. When I finished the training, I thought that the dream client, the dream pregnant woman, would be the one that would start pregnancy doing these sessions with me. And what I came to realize is that even women that arrive to me around 30 weeks, they do, actually, I think they do the greatest work, because they are all in the practices. And I've come to learn also that our brain, when we create synapses, is that in English? Yeah. When we create the synapses, there is a substance around the neurons that's called myelin. And this substance requires around 60 days to really solidify. So we usually say 21 days to create a new habit, but actually it's around 60 days. And if you put this in weeks, it's around 9 to 10 weeks. So that's why it's enough. It's a time in which you can really create these neural pathways of connection to your body, to the sensations, connection to the pleasure and really taking pleasure out of the bedroom only, out of sexuality only. Because we can find so much pleasure with the practices in our days. And this is really where we create the habit of pleasure. So it's this period of time, this window in which we can work deeply. And what I really feel that it's a great part of my work is keeping the woman attuned to this. So my enthusiasm, it's kind of contagious. And when we keep talking and seeing, because it's a short window, so we will see every week or every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's an intense contact. And when the woman gets to me again, even if she disconnected a little, I in our conversation and this enthusiasm connect her again. So mm-hmm. when she reaches birth, she's really attuned to this frequency, to the frequency of pleasure, of sacredness, and this way of approaching birth. So this is one of the points that I also realized is a key, is when birth is really approaching, it's close, the level of enthusiasm that you carry around birthing. If you are waiting for birth, expecting birth, in enthusiasm, in passion, in curiosity, in honor, knowing that it's going to be like a great ceremony, this is what it will be, because I feel it's an imprint that you put when it starts. Mm-hmm. If you are feeling this way, you put this imprint and then you flow through birth using this frequency. So I also feel that this is one of the roles, to give tools in these weeks, so that the woman can practice and create this connection to pleasure, this connection to also to her consciousness, to her focus, to really relating with the tools for an ecstatic birth, to clean birth fears. Also, it's enough. It's and it's when the births are coming up. Usually a woman that starts with me, she has no fears, but when we reach the third trimester, then there's something that starts coming up. So I feel it's a perfect time window. And yeah, I guess I answered what I
that's really beautiful. And the thing that I really hear, I heard two things. Like, one, it's really important to be all in, right? If you're an expectant mom and you're listening and you really want to know how to prepare, it's not enough to like read a book and understand how it works in your mind. This is a body thing. Like, this is you're practicing, you're training your bodies, you're building pathways, right? So it's really important to be all in on the preparation. And the way Clara is explaining it, like, if one of her clients kind of starts to wane, she's right there next week, reminding them, getting them excited, getting them enthusiastic. So I see this as well, Clara, like with my own clients. It's like, sometimes people think if they buy a package or they buy a program, then that means they're going to get what they want. And that's really not how things work. This is about you going in deep, training mind, body, heart, and soul. And the fact that you're evoking that in your clients is really, really powerful. And the other thing that you're really talking about is like, as you get closer and all those fears come up, and having the support there. That's why, doula care, childbirth prep, like having support is so, so important, because, we can do the work of unraveling fears ourselves to an extent, but to have the support is also really, really powerful. Clara, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share, like, let's say, what's one practice that you find really effective in sharing with your clients, that one practice that you really insist that they dive into?
I always start with the connection with sensations. And if the person is really connected to her body already, if she's like a yogi or a dancer, but I bring this because I feel like when we focus on sensation with this perspective of learning this language of connecting deeper, listening more to more and more and more sensations, it's different than just body scanning. It's not the same. You're really curious and evoking more sensations, and I think it's useful to everyone. It was really transforming for me, even if I already had some connection with my body and it was good in my births. Now I see how much more I could reach. So I always indicate this one. And then, because it really changes the favorites for each client, it changes. Yeah. And it's really interesting to see that this one is not the best for this person.
Yeah. So while Clara is thinking, I'll say that like you get a whole like suite of practices, because she's right on. Like some practices that are going to work really well for some people are not going to work well for others. And some practices, you know, depending on who you're supporting, some practices will be better than others. But the basis is like really starting to connect to our bodies and to the sensations within, because without that, you don't have your internal guidance. So really starting to awaken sensation and learning, like, not only can I feel more deeply, but actually just through my attention, I can evoke more in my body too. I can evoke that pleasure. I can evoke that oxytocin flow, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And well, actually, what I think is the most supportive is I usually keep in touch with my clients between our sessions. And actually, for me, it's in between when something happens, when the person is going through some intense situation, or when the person is feeling some discomfort, and then I usually invite to use the practice in this moment. And this is where she has a breakthrough. Yeah. It's when somebody else reminds her, because she already had the tool and I had already said that she should use during the week and during life opportunities. But we usually need someone to remind us. And when we are in the middle of the situation and we use that practice, it integrates in another level. So this is what I really feel that makes it even more effective, is to bring to that moment, like, yeah, now you're in this situation, connect with the flow of ecstasy. If you already learned to connect with this flow of ecstasy, then use it now. Or it's really intense, where is this intensity? How is the sensation? Focus on the sensation now. And then the person does it and she sees the result in life, then she trusts that this is going to work in birth. So that's
you're just getting me so happy and so excited, because this is why we practice, right? Like this is why we practice. One, so that our body can get to know these access points to pleasure, to ecstasy, to sensation when we feel calm, but ultimately so that we can use these tools and practices when things are intense. And there's plenty of intensity in the world around us for us to practice with ahead of birth. So that's really, really powerful. Clara, before we complete, I'm curious if you would share like how the Ecstatic Birth Practitioner Training supported you, like both personally and professionally. Like clearly you're doing such an incredible job with your clients. How did it impact you personally and professionally?
Certainly, yeah. I can say it. I can really, I don't know the word, affirm that when I was in the program, my nervous system was much more attuned, and it was a lot easier to attend, to offer sessions from this place. And throughout the training, I used a lot, I used intensely these practices in my life, and this gave me the certainty that they work in intense situations, because I was going through very intense situations in my life, and through applying them, the practices, the body practices, and the knowledge that I was receiving, I saw the transformation in myself, in my sensations, in my energy, and this is what really made the difference, is really living it before we recommend doing some practice. And when I was in the program, through the program, I was really more attuned, and we are contagious, right? We are holding this frequency, this tone, so that the woman, even if we do online, I usually do online sessions, but it's really contagious. So my state really invites the woman to get in the same state and to get really passionate about her birth and to see birth through really sacred lens. And it's really easier when I am more nurtured, and the course is really nourishing for us. So yeah, I can say that the course gives us this, the training gives us this nourishing.
So happy to hear you say that, because that's really my intention. I feel like birth practitioners in general, like we've got so much love. We're mothering the mothers. We're constantly pouring our attention out. And so for me, it's really important, if you're going to do this work long-term, to have it be sustainable, that it be sustainable for your energy. And so these practices, they're great for your clients, for supporting incredible birth experiences in your clients, but they're actually also nurturing to your body. So it's this beautiful loop where, as you're supporting your clients, as you're teaching them, guiding them through these practices, supporting them, you're actually supporting your own body and your own nervous system too.
Yeah.
Amazing. Clara, is there anything that you really, really want to share that we didn't get to talk about yet?
I think I'm complete. I really love this conversation. I don't. Oh, well, I just want to remember that I really think every woman can give birth like this, with pleasure, with deep ecstasy, with deep transformation. And because I'm listening to lots of stories of women who are giving birth for the 4th time, and the other births were not orgasmic at all, and this one was, and even the 9th time. And so it happens, and it's really a matter of this connection with our bodies, with this flow of energy, with the attitude towards birth, what we decide, how we decide to approach our birth. And I really don't think there is something like, it's not spontaneous. I really think every spontaneous orgasmic birth actually is a result of some deep work that the woman was having before. So you can do this work during pregnancy, and that's what I really want to.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's such an empowering message. It's such an exciting message. It's such an inspiring message for moms to know, like, hey, your birth doesn't have to be painful. You don't have to suffer through birth. Like, you can actually prepare your body to have an ecstatic birth experience, and for birth practitioners too, because like I said, the weight of the culture can feel heavy. So thank you so much, Clara, for inspiring us. I really want practitioners to know that, like, you can bring these practices to your clients, but first and foremost, like, you have to bring them to yourself, mind, body, heart, and soul. And from that place, you can be really, really effective in supporting your clients in these incredible, ecstatic, orgasmic outcomes. Really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Clara, I heard you say that you offer virtual sessions. Where can people reach you if they want to?
Yeah. I have an Instagram page. It's called Parto Cósmico. I can spell. It's PARTOCOSMICO. Sorry.
I'll put the link as well.
Yeah, perfect. It's Cosmic Birth in English, but you can send me a message if you want, and that's it. I want to thank you also for transforming my life and bringing me the opportunity to offer this to women. yeah, your work is deeply revolutionary, and I really love being a part of this.
Thank you so much. And for me, this is my passion. This is my pleasure. And it just gets me so excited and happy to see, you really taking it, running with it, sharing it with other women. Yes, keep going. So happy. So lots of love, Clara. Thank you, everybody that's watched today. And I want you to know that if you're an expectant mom, a lot of these tools and practices are shared in my Oh Baby program. I'll put the link below. And practitioners, get your butts in the Ecstatic Birth Practitioner Training. I have women in over 22 countries now doing this sacred work, just like Clara is, responding. I'm having tremendous success. My clients don't experience their births as painful, right? Like that could be you, that could be your clients. So ecstaticbirth.pro is where you'll see all the details. We're actually in an early registration period now, and I hope that you will say yes and join us. Thank you so much, Clara.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.